Hi everyone, I'm Judy Carroll and I'm speaking here with Helene Kaye, who has two children who have had many years of very intense contact with the ETs known as the Zetas or Greys. And Helene is giving a description of what she went through. She's spoken now about her son Ben. Now she's going to talk about her daughter Kira, who had some amazing conscious contact with the Grey teacher that we know as Auris. So I'll hand you over to Helene to talk about it.
Hi, yes, firstly all I can say is thank God I only had two children and not six going through all this. But no, originally it started, as you know, with my son Ben, and it was about 6 months later, all of a sudden then things started happening with my daughter Kira. And the first time she was screaming and came running into our bedroom. She would have been about 12, and saying that she could see someone standing at the corner of her room, and he was tall and he had a dark, like a cape on, and like this sort of hat that had come down. She couldn't see his face properly. Anyway, of course she was terrified, and of course the next day I was back on the phone to Judy again. But then the night after that, what happened was it is actually Auris, her teacher, which I'll tell you about soon, but there was a little worker with him as well, and he went to touch her ankle, and then another one came up and went to touch, was going for her throat, and naturally she really screamed and carried on, and came into us. So we were all I was just so like, no, how am I going to ever get any sleep? And dealing with two children in terror, I must admit I was really, really worried about it all. Anyway, I was just starting to get used to thinking, no, these beings are okay. And now next minute this happening to Kira, like, you know, they're going to strangle her. But then when I phoned Judy the next day, she explained to me that they're the two main meridian points in your body where you receive most healing.
For those of you who are familiar with the energy system of the body, we have energy meridians as part of the chakra system running through our body, down the arms, down the legs, and up through the neck, over the top of the head. And these are the points that are used in acupuncture and Reiki, etc., all the energy healing techniques. And what the Greys will do, if they want to give a person a good full body healing, they'll either take the person's ankles or work on the throat area, because all the upper body meridians, or most of them anyway, actually come through the neck area and the upper body. So by placing their hands around in this area, they can work on the lung meridians and colon, and I can't remember all of them, I studied this years ago, but they cover all the major top part of the body meridians by placing their hands around the throat.
So she was like she was getting a real major healing.
Getting a major healing. Yeah.
Then after that I decided to give her a Reiki treatment, and because obviously, you know, we both needed it really. Anyway, I gave her a Reiki treatment, and it was during this treatment where she actually met up with her Zeta teacher, Auris. It was during the treatment, all of a sudden, she said, "Mum, I can see myself on a beach." So while I was giving her this treatment, she was talking me through what she could see and hear and feel, which was amazing in itself. And all of a sudden she said, "I'm walking on, I can see someone walking towards me." It was like a man walking towards me. And when he arrived and spoke to her, he said, "Hello, my name is Auris and I'm here to help you." And being, you know, a teenager or nearly a teenager at that stage, and very inquisitive, she was saying, "Well, help me with what?" And he said, "Oh, you'll find out soon." And he explained that his name was spelt O-R-I-S, but said like aura, as in Auris. And it was from that time on, because I was there with her as well, it gave her the confidence to speak to him too. And I was very fortunate that Auris organised it that way for us, I suppose, too.
Himself.
Yeah, and then she had the comfort around me. Just like in a way how Ben met Anubis, you know, with reaching out with the hand, I was there with them. So they felt confident with me there. And then from then on, things really opened up a lot for my daughter. So she could consciously and just speak to him and remember going up on the disc and doing a lot of things, you know, for 3 years solidly. So, and there's a lot more information in our book, The Zeta Message, and also Human by Day, Zeta by Night as well. So, but we just want to give a little bit about it, hey? Yeah.
I think what also you need to talk about the purple ball incident, because things weren't always rosy for Kira. She was certainly put through quite a few tests over the following years, as Helene was as well.
Yeah.
And this is a particularly interesting event that happened, with some very deep teaching behind it, which I'll explain after Helene talks about what actually happened.
Okay, yes, thanks, Jude. What actually happened was this being turned up in Kira's room with a purple ball in his hands, and she felt that when he would throw the purple ball and it would hit her, that it was going to take her soul. So naturally she was very terrified, and she spent a lot of time sleeping in bed with me, or was changing beds with my husband, sleeping with one child or another. You know, I don't know how her husband handled it really for all those years. God love him. He's been a great support. So, but getting back to my daughter, the next morning I rang Jude, because I'm thinking we were just starting to get used to, you know, some of the happenings happening around us, and I thought, no, just we're starting to feel comfortable. Now here's a being saying they're going to take our soul, and I thought, surely no one can take your soul. But I know that there's a lot of fear out there with people, or you see it in scary movies even. But you think, can someone take your soul? You know. So I rang Judy to ask her, and yeah, you can explain.
The feeling that I got was that it was a test of some sort, and that what Kira needed to do was actually catch the ball and perhaps throw it back. I was taking a little bit of a gamble here too, because I don't have children, so I've never gone through this with children, and it wasn't a thing that ever happened to me during my contact experiences as a child. So I sort of thought, oh, I hope I'm right here. And I assured Helene that no, the soul couldn't be taken, and I felt very strongly, obviously I was getting a message from upstairs, Auris or someone, that this was what Kira needed to do. She needed to catch the ball and either throw it back or whatever. So I told Helene that I felt that was what needed to happen.
Yes, and little did we know after this whole experience that it was a test in trust and faith with all of us, wasn't it?
Very much so.
You know, all working together, and with trusting the Zetas too. So after getting Jude's wonderful advice, but hard advice, I naturally gave it a lot of thought and thought, no, this is ridiculous. God wouldn't allow this to happen. No one can take your soul. I really strongly believe that. So I had arranged with my daughter that, okay, we have to confront, because I think it was about 9 nights in a row she was sleeping in our room because she was too scared to go back. And it went on and on and on, and she was sleeping on the floor in our room, and I said to my husband, this is ridiculous, we've got to confront it, we've got to finally get through this. So I said to her, well look, we'll wait for this being to turn up in your room. I must admit, during one of those nights, we were watching the movie called The Others with Nicole Kidman in it, and we were all really laughing, saying, oh, this movie's nothing compared to what's going on in our house. And anyway, we ended up going into her room this one night, and this being turned up, and she really started, I mean, I couldn't see the being, but she could, and she was shaking in terror, and it was just instant. As soon as he turned up in your room, I knew. So I straight away turned around, and because I'm really good with feeling energies, and to be honest with you, I couldn't feel any negative energy, even though she was really terrified. And so I said to her, well look, doll, you know, maybe if you dress him up, and I was thinking of like Dorothy in Wizard of Oz, and you put on some, you know, the little sparkly shoes,
wobbly
and
high heels,
yeah, the wobbly high heels,
frock,
yeah, and the wig, and you know, turn him into a girl. And she started to get a bit of a giggle, so I thought, oh, well, that's good. But then all of a sudden he was talking to her.
Threatening her with the ball.
That's right, yes, he started threatening her with the ball. So I had sandalwood incense burning at the time, and so I picked that up and I said, look, I tried to prove to my daughter that he wasn't negative and that love is your power again. Okay. So I grabbed the incense and I said to my daughter, where is he? And I started poking. And I said, what's he doing now, doll? And she said, oh, he keeps moving away from you. And then he turned around and said, oh, incense will hurt your eyes.
It's bad for you.
Yeah. Anyway, that night, then after that, he just went again. Then the next night, my son Ben got into a trance and he goes running into my daughter's room, and because she was asleep in bed, and he thought that he had a dream that she was being suffocated by a pillow. And the next minute he comes running down the hallway into our bedrooms and he was in one of these trances. And in the meantime, while this was happening, this being had turned up again to my daughter, and she ended up going into my son's room, and with a lot of guts and determination on her part. I mean, you know, it was really amazing for her to trust me and Judy, because we told her to catch the ball, she'd be okay. And as he threw the ball, she caught it. And then all of a sudden, this being just disappeared, and Auris turned up, and he told her to walk over to my son's nightlight that we had on, and to put the ball on that, and it just disintegrated. And by this time, then my daughter comes running into my bedroom and says, Mum, I caught the ball. And we were cheering, and my poor husband's going, what do you mean she caught the ball? And so, yeah, poor Gary, you know, it was hard for him too. But, you know, we all made it through. But at the same token, I mean, I know I talking very lightly in a way, but that's just how I deal with it, you know.
Yeah, if it wasn't for a bit of humour, we never would have dealt with half of these situations. It's really important. You know, it's no use getting caught in the victim mentality. You've just got to be strong, and we find humour's our way of getting through it.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
And Jude, I'd like you to explain to people, because I know there'll be a lot of people out there saying, oh, for goodness sake, they tried to strangle her, then they tried to take a soul, you know.
What's going on with these horrible greys?
Yeah, why are they... What's going on here?
Yeah, okay. The crux of human evolution is about us getting our own empowerment back. And what Kira was being given, she was given a very, very good lesson in taking back her empowerment in the face of a potentially very fearful situation. Because, I mean, at that age, she really genuinely thought that this negative being was going to take her soul.
At any age, really?
Hey. Exactly. Plenty of adults would be scared of a situation like that. So for her to actually be able to face this being, grab this ball and throw it back at him, or whatever she did, or at least catch the ball, was a huge lesson in self-empowerment for her. And I remember at the time, things did change vastly for her after that. Up until that point, she'd been pretty scared all along. She was okay with Auris, but I remember she used to be scared of the little...
She was scared of the workers. Yeah.
And then the middle-sized ones, about 5 foot tall, she was scared of them. Auris was the only one she felt comfortable with. Whereas once she did this act of bravery, catching this ball, it was like it was a major test for her.
Yes.
And it was really funny because I remember you said to Auris, were you the one who set this test up? And his answer was, no, it wasn't me, it was God.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, in other words, the tests for our self-empowerment come from a much higher source.
And I also believe that that Kira had set the scenario up before she even came here too. Her higher self had agreed to going through all this as well. Yeah. So not only was it to help her own empowerment and her own soul journey, but in the bigger picture of things, it was to eventually write a book about all this to help others.
To help others, exactly.
There was no way in the world I thought we'd ever be writing a book about it, and we did, back then.
Yeah, that's right.
So, yeah, it's amazing how I just think of life as a multi-dimensional jigsaw puzzle, really, and when you look back and all the pieces that come together, and I think it's really important for mums or anybody to also look back to see how far you've come and what you've learnt. And it is so worthwhile. And truly our life is wonderful now.
Particularly, this is what ET Contact's all about. It's a learning curve for the whole family, really, particularly when children are involved. Because again, with the mother helping the children, it's self-empowerment for everyone on all levels.
Definitely.
And this is an absolute major learning curve for people down here, because so many people down here get caught up in the victim mentality and they can't sort of move themselves past it.
I actually think we've been programmed. When I really look at it, you know, if you start to feel a little bit sick, the first thing you think of is something negative. Oh, am I going to get cancer? Is it this? Is it that? And all the time, no matter what situation, and even with, because their experiences naturally that are out of this world, but because we had an open mind as well, I mean, I believe in God, but, you know, I also now understand about God, source, energy, oneness too, on a deeper level, you know? So, but it's about being open-minded and gathering positive information, not reading a lot of the negative stuff that's out there too.
Yes, because
that's what helped me a lot.
It's what you focus on in your life. I mean, if you focus on positivity, that's what you'll draw in. If you focus on negativity, that's what you'll draw in. You will draw in fearful experiences if you go looking for them. So the whole idea is to tap into the God within. I mean, we all have God essence within us. So we all have the ability to overcome in situations like that.
And I think of the God essence as it's love energy and love's your connection. And I know that can sound corny to some people, but it really is. Love is your power. You know, is it going to be fear or is it going to be love? And my love and everyone else's love can get rid of any kind of fear or negative energy, because I'm stronger. My love power is stronger than its fear power.
Absolutely.
So please remember that.
Yeah, positivity will always overcome.
Yeah.
That's our message.
Thank you.
Thank you.